welcome to Freshly Served, the healthy vegan cooking show. I'm Heather, and tonight we are making a barbecue tempeh pizza. Now, I've made pizzas before. We did Greek last time, and what I did was use a store-bought flatbread or pita bread, and that's definitely an option. It's better than buying a frozen pizza or a takeout pizza from a pizza place. But a friend of mine was disappointed that I didn't show how to make your own pizza crust, because that is definitely the best way to go. First of all, the ingredients are going to be fresh. They're going to be coming right out of your cupboard and mixing them together. Second of all, you know exactly what's going in there. You know there aren't any preservatives or chemicals or anything like that. And thirdly, it just tastes really delicious. So what you're going to do to start on your pizza crust, and it's really easy, so don't be scared, turn on your oven. Pizzas want a really high temperature, a little high. 400 degrees is pretty good. The pizza in restaurants is cooked really, really hot. I don't even know what temperature they do it at, but hotter than our ovens will go anyway. Alright, so we're starting with some flour in a bowl. And what I'm going to add is some yeast. They look like that, and this is the traditional style yeast. You can buy it in a jar, you can buy them in packets. If you use packets, just use one packet. There's also quick action yeast, and that is more of a flake than the granule. Those are great too, either one will work here. Now, food for yeast is sugar, and I'm going to add some sugar here just to make the action of the yeast go. It's not to make this sweet, but you can't leave it out, otherwise your yeast won't have anything to eat. And I don't know about you, but when I don't have anything to eat, I don't really want to do anything. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. That's to bring the flavors together. And if you want to do something really special, you can add some herbs to your pizza crust. So rosemary is a really nice one, or thyme. They both come through really well in the crust. So stir all those dry ingredients together. And then what you're going to do is make a well in the center. And if you have no idea what that means, I'll show you. You literally just make a hole in the middle of your flour. And what you're going to do is pour your liquids into that hole. And I'm going to start with a little bit of olive oil. And about a tablespoon or two is fine. And then the rest of the liquid to make your dough is going to be water. And the water to flour ratio can change depending on what type of flour you use. I'm using whole wheat. Use any type of whole grain flour you like. Brown rice flour works really well for pizza crust as well. But anyway, you might not use exactly the same ratio of water as I am. So what you do is add it and just kind of give it a stir. And as you're stirring, you're going to be able to tell how wet this dough is going to be. And it's very easy to add more flour, but it's very difficult to add more water. So yeah, I've used about 3/4 of a cup for my cup of flour, and it's a bit wet, so I'm going to need to grab some more flour in order to make this a nice pizza dough. At some point in the progression of your dough, your spoon is not going to cut it anymore, and that's where the fun part starts. Get some flour on your hands and then get them right in there with the dough. And what you're looking for is that this dough is a nice soft consistency. It'll probably be a little bit sticky, and the way to get a really soft pizza dough is to get your dough with as little flour as possible in order that it doesn't stick to your hands. And that's a very fine balancing act that you need to come up with. A little practice and you'll be fine. But what you want to do is make sure your pizza crust stays on the verge of sticking to your hands. And then anytime it does start to stick, you just take a little bit of flour, sprinkle it on there, and keep going. Now kneading, and I'll take this out of the bowl so you can see better. Kneading is something that people are probably familiar with the word, but maybe you haven't done it before. What you want to do is you take your dough, fold it in half, give it a press, turn it, fold it, press, turn it, fold it, press, turn it, fold it, press. You can see this bottom side is going to start to get sticky. Get a little bit of flour on there. It doesn't hurt to have some flour on the board. Press, turn, fold, turn, press, fold, turn, press, fold, turn. The longer you knead, the softer your dough is going to be and the better the yeast action. So, you know, get a little radio going, get some TV in the background, get a glass of wine, and knead away. Once you've got your dough kneaded for about 5 minutes, that should be good. It should be a really nice, soft consistency and not quite sticking to your hands, but nice and moist. That's what you're looking for. Okay, now if you ever notice on a pizza crust when they have those little yellow bits on the bottom, what that is cornmeal, and what it does is help the pizza not to stick to your baking pan. And you can do the same thing with millet. I find it easier because I don't use cornmeal very often, so if I have some millet, which I tend to have on hand, I just pop a little bit in my coffee grinder and then it makes a nice coarse millet flour. So what you do with that is just sprinkle it on your baking sheet. And then you're going to form your dough into your pizza crust, and you can make one massive pizza, you can make 2 medium-sized pizzas, you can make 4 little mini pizzas, whatever you like. Phil and I like a really thin crust, and all you gotta do, I usually pull it apart a little bit. I don't do anything fancy like the pizza chefs in movies and stuff, but press it out. You can use a rolling pin, that sometimes helps. Once you get it to a certain thinness, you sometimes need some help. Anyway, form it into whatever shape you like, and then we're going to pop it in the oven once the oven is heated, and you're going to get them going for about 10 minutes just to get the crust most of the way cooked, and then we'll put the toppings on and finish it off. So once your crust gets in the oven, you've got a little while to prepare your toppings, and what I'm using is for a barbecue pizza, I've got some tempeh, I've got tomato, red pepper, and I've got a bunch of fresh spinach. Now, I'm using a barbecue sauce that was given to me for Christmas by Jane. Thank you, Jane. And I've included a recipe for a barbecue sauce because I don't know how she did this. She makes a plum barbecue sauce that is spectacular. So if you have a good barbecue sauce recipe, go for it. And all you do, chop up your veggies, and we'll get them ready to put on top of that pizza. So you've got your veggies and your tempeh chopped up, and when you're putting vegetables on a pizza, it's no different from roasting vegetables. And when you roast vegetables, in order to protect them from drying out in the oven, you need to put a little bit of oil on them. And the best way to use the least amount of oil possible is put them all in a bowl, drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top there, and then get right in with your hands and mix it like that. Sprinkle a little bit of salt on after you get the oil to help them soften in the oven, and you will have some lovely soft vegetables once your pizza is cooked. There are our crusts out of the oven, so just spread a small amount of sauce on the pizza here and then top it with your veggies and your tempeh. Pop it back in the oven. It takes about 20 minutes for those vegetables to soften up. These are looking pretty awesome. They've been in for 20 minutes. Stuff's getting nice and soft. The barbecue sauce has run onto the baking sheet a little bit, which reminds me that parchment paper is never a bad idea to line the baking sheet with before you put them in the oven. Healthy vegan barbecue tempeh pizza looks delicious. Now that you know how to make your own crust, have fun and make up as many different pizzas as you can think of.